Welcome back to Nighttime Gaming. Habs? Where we're going, we don't need habs. Let's build it. The castle. We start with 3 Magfield landing thrusters. Great thing about this Corvette is that it provides a massive open-air base that you can construct whatever you want on. So you install 3 Magfield landing thrusters, 1 dead center, and 1 at the edge of the circle. We're going to be using a Thunderbird class halves to do some offset building right off the top. So grab your trusty ducting outlet and offset back into the side. Doesn't matter which side you go for. So now that's in place, remove the ducting outlet, replicate the hab forward and back. 2 to the front, 2 to the rear, for a total of 5 habs along. Then we use hard frame cowling to form the spine of the keel. Building 9 along. Leave that front open for the nose. So now you're resetting onto that central line using the landing gear as the guide. We're going to rock hop this so it aligns. There we go. So, let's grab the next part. We want Vesper cowling, flat side up, build back like that. That creates a nice smooth line. So let's replicate this back. 1, 2, 3. 1 more at the back. 4. Let's fill it out. You know what else could use filling out? The comments down below. What would you build with a massive open-air platform? Let me know. Next part. Let's build out the nose. Arcadia blade on the offset build, and also facing forward, bottom side up. We're just creating a streamlined nose because the system actually cares about aerodynamics. So the hab we're anchoring to now is offset off the center line by 1/2 step. And just walk it up and forward. Like so. There's your basic outline. It's a little irritating. You can't mirror a piece vertically like you can horizontally. If you need to build something there, you'll need to add a hab. So let's build out the rest of the nose. Put this vertically. Place like so. Alright, let's delete this lower spine part. Replicate this and place. Before we build any higher, we want to finish off the bottom part of the ship. So remove those bottom offset halves and replicate the work with the hard frame cowling all the way forward. Alright, let's replicate the starboard side of the nose and the top platform. Use a Vesper cowling to anchor the nose to the rest of the ship. Next, we're going to replicate the starboard side. So there's your platform. We'll just finish it off on the rear. There. And there. Let's build out the engines. Anchor one hab to the offset keel. And while we build out the engines, let's build up those likes. Smash that like button down below. Appreciate you. We're going to swap that hab for a walkway. But first, build up. 3 decks total. 1 deck out to the left and right of that central column, anchored to the bottom of 3. We're going to be adding Kineostream Thrusters. Like so. And those are your 3 primary engines. The rest are just cosmetic. I like to add these Ambassador Heavy boosters. I think they just provide a really nice effect. To install the starboard side, we're going to do the L-shaped walk. 1 on top, 1 to the left. Move the bottom. Like so. Now we can replicate the Ambassador. There we go. Move the habs. And take a look. Fill that in with a walkway. Add in an Ambassador landing bay on the center hab between those 2 engines. Let's add in a Titan class landing bay. You don't want to use the Ambassador, like you see here, because when it faces front, you can't get out. There's some invisible wall. Only the Titan class works. Add in seamless windows all the way around. We'll be removing those 2 habs and replacing them with engine covers. Let's do that now. Offset build, mount to the side, move the walkway up and to the right. That's to the port side. Replicate down. And grab these engine covers. Mount like so. Let's do it on the other side. Right. Grab your ducting outlet. Place on the side. Move up and to the left. That's to the starboard side. Replicate down. And add in your engine covers. Easy as. Remove these, and replicate over. Done. So there's your base. Let's add in the cockpit. 2 habs for construction purposes only, so whatever you have laying around. 2 up from the main deck, and mount your Thunderbird, like so. Remove, and you have an open-air cockpit. Let's finish out the nose. This is the offset build from the spine of the ship. And we're going to be offset building back, like so. And to ensure symmetry, let's build it across both sides all at once. Replicate the Arcadia blade. What we're doing is we're slowly working our way back using the offset and main aligned grid. Like so. So now we have a nice, clean, streamlined nose. The last things we need to add are the reactors and the weapons. The keel of the ship provides a perfect spot for hiding it all away. So let's add in some reactors. All our tech is going to be installed on this keel. 3 Zenith, 2 Medusa, also phase beam arrays mounted to those reactors. 3 total. Why not just throw some Ceto in here as well? Torpedo launchers? Sure, why not? Well, they don't want to clip, that's why not. So let's do a look around. Those rear engines could use some work. But as you can see, this is a wide open space that you can build whatever you want on. This allows you to combine the best parts of base building and Corvettes. We'll go into that later in the video. For now, let's move these engines forward. Make sure you mount onto the engine, like so. Not like that, like that. There we go. We're going to rock hop this forward. Totally missed the rock hopper. Delete it. And then question life choices. Let's start that again. Offset build this back and to the right. And let's check how the ambassador works. There, that's a good alignment. Yeah, nice and tight. Replicate down and across, doing the mirroring trick. Get your second engine in place. Yeah, that's a lot better. So here's the end of the open plan part of the build. You could go and build your own thing here. If you want to build a castle, stick around. And this is why you don't want to use the ambassador landing bay. You can't get in or out. So let's fix that. Let's remove that and add in the Titan class landing bay. In the dry dock, the ramp will clip through, but out in the world, the ramp has collision and will stop on top of that hab. Now that's done, let's get to building. The first major step is to get the ruined base parts. If you don't already have them, here's how. You find a planet with these ruins, and you fly around looking for memory stones. They look like this. You run up to them, open them, and you get a part. There are 12 in total to collect, and it can take a little bit to find all 12. But it's worth it. Just mark your next one, get in your Corvette, and fly over. Yes, I did attach ruins to my Corvette. The great part about farming these with your Corvette is that you don't need to waste launch fuel. You can either open the ramp and skydive, or beam down to the planet. If you don't have a planet with these ruins on it already, here are the coordinates. This planet was discovered by Bad Wolf, and I found the coordinates on No Man's Sky Coordinate Exchange. This planet is great because it has corrupted sentinels, ruins, several large fungal mold deposits where I built bases, and salvaged parts. So you can farm basically everything you might want on this one planet. Thanks, Bad Wolf. Great planet. All told, it took me about an hour of farming these to get all 12 parts. As with all decorating, I recommend going into first-person view. So now you have your parts, your decoration panel should look like this. Grab a large ruined archway and start with the outside walls. This is default sizing, and we are positioned near the nose on the starboard side, facing out. Place like so. You want your little pip dot there, aiming right at the farthest point. Check on the left side of the screen, you're looking at overlapping, so it just clips through. Not too much, not too little. And just strafe directly to the side. At this point, you're running into the engine. Time to do the port side. I prefer to have an asymmetrical lineup, so that means the arches do not line up on the front to back axis. The arches just are offset a little bit. And you're just working down the ship. Check your clipping on the right side of the screen as you work your way down. There you go. That's the outside walls. All right, now we're going to build the center aisle. Want to size up your archway using the opening of the Thunderbird hab entrance as a guide. You want it to be just about the width of those two lines on the top of the awning. Then you just gradually inch backwards, straight back, without moving side to side, and just keep placing. You can see the texture change. That means we're getting near the cockpit, and you want to leave a little bit of room so you can get by side to side. Just a little bit of curve right there. Now you have enough room to go around on the sides. Switch it back up. Run along the top of the arch. We're going to add a very large dome on top of the habs and rotate it so the openings face front to back. Something like that. You're out of range up here, which is a little sad. You could build smaller if you wanted. Now we're going to make another dome. This is going to be 3 domes along the ridge, progressively smaller as we go. Oh, what? Nope. Get out of there. So just rotate your dome so the arches create that smooth transition. Replicate the dome, face forward, size it down quite a bit. We're going to go do the front one and add in these ruined totems as cappers. Size that down a little bit, jetpack up, and aim down. Sometimes if you size the part down too much, it says it cannot be placed. That's just a sizing bug, and you need to size it up a little bit. Oh, falling. Whenever I get frustrated with a certain part of the build, I move on to a different part. So we'll move to the cockpit now. So you don't have to jetpack up, I build a little ramp. Using these ruined totems as support for a bridge. Place them like so. And you want to grab this ruined slab. Size it up so it fits between those two totems. Rotate it. Cycle through the axes until you get it flat like that. You want to aim it just below the entrance of the cockpit. Otherwise it creates a path bug, so you actually can't get out of your ship or your cockpit. We're placing this ruined monument to give a clipping point for the slab. Same size, cycle rotation axis, and aim it down like so. It helps if you rotate the top of the slab and size it down just a little bit. Remove the totem, ramp, cockpit. Okay, I replicate these totems, size them down again. One very cool feature about an open air Corvette is that you can fish right off the deck. As long as you don't build too high like we have here, you have a nice low platform that you can aim right at the water with. And place. I should have left it as it is, because this is accidentally perfect. But I screw it up trying to make it better. My thinking was, I want to be able to walk underneath. But that shouldn't have been done. I'll just fast forward through this part. So as you'll see, I spent a long time trying to fix a problem that wasn't there. So the lesson I can share from this is be careful before you just edit things. Let things sit. You may have accidentally outsmarted yourself. See, I had to strip it out and rebuild it. It works. So moving on, we'll add some of these walls to the corner here, size them up. I like these ruined arches. They add quite a bit of character and detail. Don't mind me as I fall off a lot. High wire work. So what we're going to do is walk along this wall and place these ruined arches on each one of these sticking up points on the ruined walls. It can be a little tricky. If you look where my pip is, it's right on the edge of the wall. For some reason, the starboard side is way harder than the port side. So just go along, creating this raised wall of ruined arches. Fall off again and again. Hey, stayed up this time. Oh, there we go. Had to end sometime. So when you get to the end, just go on the center. You can't get it as close or as inset, but it can save you a little bit of sanity. So working from the front to the back is still difficult. So I recommend working back to front. See how you can aim dead center? Just aim at each of the nubs. And fall off. Thank goodness for jetpacks. Whoa. Okay. Phew. Saved it. You know what would look cool? We added some archways to this, kind of like flying buttresses. Yeah, that looks pretty good. The ruined arch actually sticks out way less than you think, so just make sure you put it close. You know what? Let's add some to here. Looks good. We'll add 4 to this one. Like that. I think... Yeah, let's add a center one. After we move this down, size it up a little bit. Pretty good. Size a center one down. Let's go about that size. Let's see. Grab this one. Bigger. Bigger. We'll add in totems on top. Like so. See, I sized it down too small so it wouldn't place. Bigger, and it places. Whoa, falling down. Alright, let's work from below. Size it up. Aim for the window. So inset slightly. And place. We'll aim over on this window as well. We'll do 3. Fly over to this wall. And place. Sometimes the outline goes all blurry like that. I'm not sure why. All right, that's done. Let's work on this front one. Size it down, small as it can go. Stand on the dome. Size it up till it fits. There we go. Sometimes you can get it a little smaller if you just play up and down with the sizing. All right, so let's do a review. This is what it looks like at the moment. So we have the big dome in the back. That center dome could be a bit bigger, or this one a bit smaller. But since we're limited in the minimum size of the totems, I recommend sizing this one up. But you know what would be really cool? A center arch break in this long column. So you stand underneath where that center dome is and delete the arches. 3 or 4 in total. To create an opening in the center of this archway. You can try and use these. The downside is that you will block off the thoroughfare under the arches. You'll see that just about now when I go in and check. So you go in, that's a good alignment, looks great, can't get through. So remove the arches and get the ruined arches. Aim for the edge. You're going to have to size this way up, bigger than you think. Place and check. That looks good. Flip it over. I had the hardest time getting them to join up in the middle to look like an actual arch. But hey, they're ruins. And still off. There you go. That would have been good. Well, we'll go for better. And that's worse. That's not quite where I want it. You want to make sure that you can both get through sideways and through the center. You might have to get a little creative with placements. I find that there's always one little corner. Where is that going? Still not lined up. Rotate it further than you think. Aim for the corner of the main archway. Yeah, that's close enough. So, to seal this archway, go into Decorations and get this ruined wall. Size it up. And rotate it. On the red axis, if you're standing directly underneath. I'm aiming at the inside top of the arches, and I'm clipping the hole into the existing stonework. We'll go to the other side, turn around, and clip through this way as well. That way it has one continuous roof all the way down. Try and close that gap. That's better. Let's see. Yeah, need to move this up. So move. Make sure the arches and alignments go all the way to the back in one straight, unbroken line. Okay, that's sticking through too much. Fly up. And free place. Now you have an open arch. We can close that hole up a little bit more. If you're still watching, I appreciate you. Extended watch time really helps the channel grow. Move this a little bit more forward. Hey, there we go. That's aligned close enough. All right. So, here's the starboard aisle. Here's the port aisle, center aisle, cockpit. Now, I'll show you some fun stuff you can do with free-placing the Corvette tech modules. We'll place a nutrition unit here. The trick to this is you want to aim at the bottom corner where the walls meet the floor. So you can't place it there, but as low as you can. They also fit brilliantly between these arches. Just walk close, aim as far as you can, and there you go. There's a small point that you can get just there. All right. Let's add some lights. This is totally unnecessary and follows the rule of cool. So you want to put these pillar lights sticking up on top of the archways, like so. What always helps to work out to in. Aim farther away from you so you don't have to move as much. Whoa, I missed. If you are still around, and you haven't already, consider liking and subscribing. If you're lazy, and you have good aim, it works well enough. I do a jetpack place here. If I can not fall down, close enough. The next step is to invert them vertically. So cycle to blue rotation axis, place. Cycle through to rotate it horizontally. In place. The reason I think that you should do this is that when you are flying through space or through a storm, it looks super dramatic. Again, the rule of cool. We'll fill in those top lights after we do these upside down ones. Doesn't have to be precise. Cool thing about ruins is there's flexibility. Just fill in these top pillar lights. Oh. There's imprecise and then there's just wrong. Now I like to add these little pill lights on the inside of the archway here. If you want to cast like a dark gothic vampire kind of vibe, the red lights work brilliant. Blah blah blah. If you place them just inside the little detailing and those nooks, it casts a kind of recessed raycast kind of lighting. It's not true raycasting, I don't think, but it's really nice. I find a trick is if you find a good line, just place and strafe with minimal stick or mouse adjustments. Remove those. Replicate, we're going to go on the outside. And I like to place some pill lights along the floor. So using the ruins is only one option. This base of the ship could be used for almost anything. If you decide to just take the base and build something else, why don't you post in the community? I don't have a Discord yet, but that's in the works. In the meantime, go to the Nighttime Gaming, go to the Communities tab, and share some screenshots. Wait. So to finish up this back corner, you could use some ruined walls, but I like to use these ruins. Make a little asymmetrical and create just a kind of hidden nook kind of thing. And if you grab these ruined slabs, You can fill in any little holes here. Size it up a bit. And create kind of a wall. Hello games, I don't know if you're listening, but one thing that I would love you to integrate into your build system is the ability to drag along a specific axis, like the WoW player housing allows you to do. You can isolate X, Y, or Z axis and just slightly nudge it along the path. That would allow a lot more precise placement for base and Corvette building in decoration mode. I know it's not possible with the Corvette build system, but we have ways to work around that. Add in another little totem here, right in the middle. Very nice. Let's add a refiner here. So if you don't aim right at the edge, that happens. But if you do aim right at the edge, all the way out as far as you can go, you can tuck it in and hide a lot of the walls. I think that looks better. That's what we're going to do. Place the mission radar right near the opening at the cross. Aim right out near the edge, and there you go. Now I'm going to add, get back up there, some ladders so we can go up to the next deck. Hey look, I outsmarted myself. I built a ramp to the outside. Skill. Don't need that. If you prefer mounting your technology, you can easily do it in here. And this is the center of the dome, right at the back. Some fun little detailing and quirks you can add here. Are things like this. The cave creeper. If you wanted to go really crazy, you could build a ramp around the outside or the inside of this dome and have like a secret little mud hut room up at the top. The cave creeper can be a little strange with how it attaches, so I recommend using it sparingly and just for small details far away from where you're likely to go. So I'm going to double speed this now because placing moss is kind of boring. You can place all kinds of little detailing, extend the walls up a little bit, tie everything a little bit more together, and add some detailing to the nose and the underside. Something I like to do with this ship is to add these ruined slabs to kind of create a rocky textured look. Sometimes it clips through like you see here. So you just have to find that nice little anchor point. The landing gear works great for this. And you can just work your way down the ship. You can also rotate it and have it stick out like that. There's no transversable area that you're going to be clipping into here. There are halves down the center, but because of how we're building this, you won't really be able to use it. If you'd prefer to have those usable, don't build this section. Just working on down. Check the other side, make sure it's not clipping through overly much. Just building it out. Like that. And you can, if you want, extend this all the way out. But remember that the more parts you add, the longer it'll take to load in, and the more resource intensive it will be for you and everyone else that is playing with you. I also use these fingery deposits as stalactites to make it kind of look like it's ripped right out of the earth. It's all in the details. These rocks make it look like some ancient structure that has lying dormant for millennia, waiting for the right traveler to come and claim it. And here's a aerial review. This is a very large ship, about the same size as the Dictator. And yeah, it is very Warhammer coded. Despite how complex it looks, it's actually quite easy to do. It just takes a bit of time. So let's work on that nose. To get the nose good, I use a mix of these ruined slabs and the ruined walls, those curved pieces. So rotate it and then switch your axis. And that lets it kind of wrap around the parts. That's the kind of idea, but we'll make it bigger. Get the rotation right. Find that sweet spot. Overlap it, kind of like scales. Downside to these ruins, if you're not careful, you can create little holes to trap people in. This step would probably be easier if you built some gantries, but as this is a near 100-piece Corvette, I would recommend just working like this. This is the longest guide I've ever made, yet. When I remake the Dictator, that will probably be longer, because it's far more detailed and finicky. But if you are still watching this, comment down below, remake the Dictator. That way I'll know that you've gotten to this point. If I get enough comments, I'll push that forward. Working on the underside now. That's right underneath. Just rotate it around and kind of clad the nose. And you can clad the underside too. All the way back. You could even have the weapons stick out. Let's do a fly around. This has been a lot of fun to build. It is so dramatic. And there we go. If you don't build this ship, but use it as a base, I really want to see what you did. So go to the community and post some screenshots. Share with your fellow travelers. Here's another little trick. You can put ramp down. But as you can see, it's a little bit hard to get around. A little bit more cave creeper around here. This also reminds me kind of Skyrim, some of the ruins. Well, just go to the front of the nose, add a little cave creeper under here, to the nose, and some other places. Size it up to the max. Walk back so you're actually editing the Corvette. The nose is quite far forward, so it can be a little tricky to get sometimes. Make sure free placement is turned on. And down, kind of like that. And place. One thing to do is add in a ruined totem right at the front, pointing forward. So find your anchor point, rotate it so it's flat, and you're going to have to wiggle around to find just the right place so you're in the build area. Usually that's underneath. And place. And there you go. Your very own ruined platform Corvette. Completely open air. And ready for adventures. I also like these Atlantidian street lamps, just to add a little bit more light and character. Because, this is a very boring Corvette. Nice one over here. I didn't focus too much on the kitting out, more just on the basics. It would be really cool to see if one of you is willing to take the time to build out kind of a little cafe area in that food processor area. This could be a cool little deck. And the last thing I like to do is to get the Quicksilver decoration, the black hole wall sign, and mount it right around the cockpit entrance. So, good trick. Mount it there. Change the rotation point. And this is where one of those constrained movements, options would be fantastic. Because if I could just slide it down, that would make everything work so much better. We don't want it right on the ramp because then we'll have trouble getting up and down the ramp. But if it's clipped through like that, it should work. Get up on the ramp and go through. I don't think it'll work right around the edge there. Next time. I don't like that ramp needing to jump. But that's for the next Corvette. Till next time, I'll see you in the stars, travelers.